Hey guys, here's the gear for today. I'm going to use a Karve Christopher Bradley again. This time the base plate is a B, as in Bravo. The blade, Personna, and I guess that's a lab blue, right? What it says on the label is Personna Super. And it is made in the USA. And if for details on that, my description of the video should be accurate. I'll do some research. I should have done it before I talked to you now, but be a little bit of a mystery, right? Until then. 1776 is a scent by Holy Cow, and that is how you pronounce it. This is the vegan formulation, and yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery. Wholly, and then Kaw, and the correct pronunciation is Holy Cow. Got that from the maker himself. And this is a formulation I have not yet tried with the Slurry Lather method. So that's why it's up today. I like the artwork on this one, which is mainly why I bought it. And then it turns out I like the scent too, so that works out. All right, the boar brush we're going to use is that kind of an older one that just says kind of made in Germany at the bottom. It's heavily shellacked here on the wooden handle. It has pretty sparse bristle count. It's when I took it up out of the soap cup, and I kind of flopped it around, it was just so light because it doesn't really hold very much water. I've used it once with the Slurry Lather method, and I had to just go back and maybe add a little bit of water. Maybe I had to add more soap. I had to tweak it a little bit. So that's why I'm trying it again today. And it kind of represents the class of boar brush that could be vintage, or it could just be a small, inexpensive boar brush without a lot of bristles in it. I know that the big 31 millimeter boar brush that I have from Zenith, the B35, works great with the Slurry Lather method because it holds a ton of water. Well, this guy doesn't hold as much. So he's here. We're going to try him out. Karve. Let's go ahead and load it with the blade. This is the solid barred B plate. I've got 2, maybe 3 days of growth to take off. And look, this is a brand new blade. So what does the blade say? I had an assortment, and I just hadn't used this one yet, and I don't use this particular one too much. It says Personna made in the USA, Personna Super. Right there. On the back side, says the same thing. Personna made in the USA, Personna Super. All right. So there might be a lab blue. I guess maybe another option, it could be a med prep. Those are some of the terminologies that we have for different Personna blades. I think maybe it would tell me chrome or something if it was the, comfort coated, that kind of thing. That other Persona's blades can be very tricky to understand what blade you actually have because they made the same blade in different markets and named it different things and gave it different packaging when it was the same blade. So it can be tricky. All right, the blade's in there. Let me get my beard wet. I do prefer their tallow formulation a little more with Holy Cow here. And it is a soap that is on a very short list of soaps that whenever I scoop them and load that way and press that scoop, that amount into the bottom of a lather bowl, I have to do maybe twice as much as I do with other soaps. Maybe they have skin goodies or something like that. It's just a different formulation. I can't remember if that's the tallow or if that's the vegan base that I have to do that with. But the little new thing I'm trying in terms of loading is going to come in handy today because there's a lot of question marks. This one hasn't been used in a while. The soap's starting to come away from the sides a little bit because of loss of moisture. And then we also have this little boar brush that doesn't have very many bristles. It's kind of sparse. So we're going to use that method I've been talking about, that I've been wondering and I kind of just thought up, where I just work it until the froth kind of builds up. I basically keep as much water as I can in the brush while moving it over here to the soap in the light of the fact that this is a little small guy. And then I work it until the lather starts to froth up and maybe overflows some. I'm going to try to catch that overflow to be able to use it in the shave. In my bowl here, I'm going to let any of the loose stuff that's in here drain into the bowl just to have that available if I need it. But that's the approach we're going to do right now. So we're going to let gravity take what it will. And then let's just go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got some goopage on the back side here, so let's just see how that works out in my shave. Make use of some of the excess. They definitely have some good scents over at Holy Cow. It's not one that I have a lot of their stuff. It is, I think it's a little on the pricier side, but it's mainly pricey because you have to use more product. And that is a little bit less my style. So let's take that brush. Oh, that's a good froth. A little slurry there. Switch to the other side. Very good sign. And again, with the slurry lather method, we don't have to work this together into a lather quite yet. Now, see, already it's starting to lose some of that moisture. You know, it's firming up a little bit as a shaving lather because this brush just didn't hold very much moisture. So what I'm going to do, take a little bit of water, dribble it into the bowl here, and I can kind of use that if I want to, you know, freshen up the pass. Okay, but we don't need to do that too much with this first one. We'll mainly look to do that with the subsequent passes. Karve Christopher Bradley, probably the razor I would grab if I had to use one razor for the rest of my life and, you know, had to move or some other kind of urgent disaster or something like that. Because the base plates that it has, and I did buy most of them, both open comb and solid bar. And it's taken down. This is a good blade with this because it's very comfortably moving through 3 days of growth. Just not having a problem with that at all. That's great. This is a great example about how if you find a great blade and razor combo and you get a really slick lather, you don't have to, you know, have an open comb in your inventory that you use when your beard is longer than usual. Man, that's just such an efficient shave right there. Water on my face now. That really, so much of my stubble is gone now. Okay, so let's put that second pass on. See how much soap, you know, we're going to be able to pass on from that first pass. How much soap stayed in the brush. It's a little tiny board, so I guess, you know, not very much, right? Because it's gone. So what we'll do is just go back to the puck here for a little bit. And kind of bring that slurry back. We're not trying to bring back we don't need to try, is what I really should say. We don't need to try to bring back some kind of mature lather and rehydrate and all that stuff. Because look, we've got plenty of hydration. It's really, really wet. all we need is a little bit of soap to get that slurry going. So maybe that brush, maybe it's tricky to get it to hold enough soap. And this is a breeze here. I've got terrific slickness. Razor is moving effortlessly. Top comfort. I mean, it really is almost smooth. I think the B with Christopher Bradley is a base plate that has neutral exposure, which means that if you were to draw an imaginary line, let's just use this toothbrush as an example. If you were to take an imaginary line from the contact points of the top cap up here and where it touches the base plate, then the blade would come to that exact line as well. And so all three things, the closest point on the top cap, the closest point to your skin on whatever curve the safety bar is, and the blade edge, they would all be in exactly the same line. And that's called neutral exposure. Now, some neutral exposure razors, that doesn't mean it's always going to be a mild razor. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything in the sense of looking at it objectively. It just means that it's really a relative comparison. It means it's probably not going to be highly aggressive. You can probably assume that, right? But not all neutral. Neutral doesn't necessarily mean mild. Let's put it that way. It all depends on the rest of the factors at play. Man, what a great shave. That's a good combo. That particular Personna blade, and this is its first use, just slid through that a good bit of hair nicely. So a little bit of water now. Now because that brush wasn't holding a ton of soap, it wasn't able to really lay down a kind of a layer that still remained nourishing and luxurious during the little water splash rinse kind of thing that I do. Now, so I think we've proven that this little guy he's so small that he needs some help. He just doesn't hold a lot of soap and a lot of water. So we're kind of gonna mix together a slurry and let's see what this how this works out on my face. See what, we'll be able to bring this to maturity maybe, just to experience how this tiny little boar feels with a kind of a creamy mature lather. Instead of starting with kind of drier, pasty concentrate on my face, we are starting with the slurry, and then we are working it until they kind of come together. And you can see the way this thing splays. It feels quite sparse. The tips on this one are also not, oh yeah, look, we're getting kind of creamy and luxurious on this side right here. It does feel like a sparse little brush. It doesn't feel prickly. These are not premium tips like you might experience with a Zenith or a Semogue. Some of them have been splitting. I did do maybe a hairdryer treatment on it, something like that. And so I think that, it could be quite a comfy little brush. But yeah, now we've got a mature lather now. It's nice also to do this because I'm getting a better apprehension of the scent. It's kind of around me more. Really nice, kind of green, fresh. Not exactly, I can't remember what it's supposed to represent, as a patriotic type scent. They're obviously trying to throw back to some kind of experience or event in our nation's history. So now, yeah, we've got that luxurious, creamy lather. And I just kind of wanted to feel this brush with, while it had that kind of lather in it. It's quite a floppy brush, as you can probably see how easy it's splaying. Tiny, tiny bit of prickle. If I'm not in the big splay, if I've backed off enough and I'm switching directions, I can feel some of those tips that haven't split or have a little bit of firmness to them, like the ones that are in backwards, you know, that look squarish on the end. All right, let me kind of rinse my hands off. Now, obviously, I'm going to revisit this soap base with a better brush, with one that's more normal, what most guys are going to be experiencing, to see and make sure, confirm that the vegan base here works well with the slurry lather. But I think it'll be just fine. So with this little sparse boar brush, that load method where you load until it starts to kind of overflow the tub, wasn't quite enough. But to be honest, I think that's really the brush's issue. So that's another thing I'll try when I use another brush with this soap, with this base. Matter of fact, I think I have 3 other Holy Cow scents, and I think they're all the tallow base. This may be my only vegan base from them. I know I have Pasha's Pride. That's a really good one. Cuero Oscuro, I think, might be another one from them. I enjoy that one too. So that's the third pass, and yeah, so much of my stubble was gone. This was just a little pickup to just experience the lather and to feel that that extra creaminess and see how the brush worked with that. And the little stray hairs, we picked those up. Face feels great. Zero irritation, no cuts or anything like that. A wonderful combination between blade and razor here. And the kind of a natural scent that's going on right now with that kind of grassiness and freshness, I think might work well with the kind of natural elements, woody and all that sort of thing. This is Hallows, and it is the balm. There was a period where in COVID, I believe, Barrister and Mann had their balms, but they didn't have balms. They had splashes, but they had a great deal of trouble getting the alcohol needed to manufacture their splashes. And so he switched over to try balms out. And so we can credit COVID with that. And so I'm just going to leave my face a little wet so that this spreads real easy. This one has separated a little bit, but if that does happen to you, you can check with the manufacturer. In this case, it's Will, and you can ask him if it's okay to just stir it back up, which is probably is. Oh yeah, those woody kind of dark notes. Oh man. Now there's a little bass funk right here if I smell the tub, but I don't get that at all when I'm putting it on my face. The splash for Hallows, I believe I had some, and it had a certain note, a particular note that was in its profile that was not really perceptible as a soap. Like it as a soap a lot, but then as a splash, that note was one that I didn't like, and it was very dominant when I would put it on as a splash. And so I had to sell that. But we'll see about this balm. I think the balm is fine. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. It's very different. It's good for the colder climates. It's good when you're feeling a little mysterious. It's earthy, woody. Does he have any other descriptors here in the... doesn't look like it. It's got the ingredients. It's got a bunch of cool stuff in terms of skin food. It's got oat kernel protein, jojoba oil, leaf extract, kokum butter, radish seed extract. So good bunch of healthy stuff. Will's definitely focused on, has a priority on skin treatment and nourishment with his products. His omnibus base is geared for that as well. And the one before that, the Soft Heart, the modified Soft Heart, was an Excelsior, had some good skin food ingredients as well. And there we go. Let's rinse out the blade and razor here. Did have to do a little bit of doctoring like we have with this brush in its shaves. It just doesn't hold a lot of water, and maybe all in the same way, it doesn't hold a lot of soap. And so while the slurry looked really good on that first pass, there wasn't much available in the second. But the benefit of the slurry method is that you're coming at it in the beginning with all that water. And so it's very easy to just get your wet brush, and during pass number 2, what I did, just go back to the soap for a little bit, and then bam, I'm able to quickly generate my slurry again. Whereas with the brush that holds more, then I'm able to have the slurry as the first pass. The second pass is starting to get more like a real lather, and then the third pass is that mature lather. Whereas with this kind of situation, it's kind of a slurry the whole way through because of the way the brush isn't really able to hold stuff. Now, of course, I did throw it a little bit of trickery at the end by doing an extra bit of soap loading and really working on my face to bring it to maturity. And so I departed from the slurry lather ways right there just because I wanted to experience that kind of lather with this brush and the scent as well. And the vegan base here, very slick in terms of its performance, very slick, workable, and skin felt terrific with it. So that's a good vegan base. That's not a slouch. There are so many vegan bases out there that by the time you hydrate them enough, they start to lose their creaminess. You get them to that light creamy point, and now your razor's skipping because the lather's kind of lost its emulsion, lost its something. It's kind of starting to break down. And so that's a really good vegan base. Southern Witchcrafts is another company that does a vegan base that is just top notch. It can be compared to tallow bases out there, and there are definitely some tallow bases that I like less than the 2 vegan bases I've just discussed. Well, that's it. What's left is just to kind of clean up that brush and clean up my area in general, and we're all good. Thanks so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.